I'm Julie Saunders.
I'm Jan Wilson. Julie and I both have experience as school librarians, and we've worked together as district library leaders.
In each episode, we'll dive into our profession with interviews and meaningful content to inspire you. We're not experts,
but we're pretty close.
The ideas and opinions shared by any host, guest, or listener are their own and do not represent those of any respective school district.
Welcome to Library Exchange.
This episode is sponsored by The Child's World. For more than 50 years, The Child's World has brought a world of educational books to young readers in school and public libraries everywhere.
Their engaging titles help kids explore the world around them, from early literacy and language arts to social studies and STEM, all thoughtfully created to support learning and spark curiosity.
Since 1968, one goal has stayed the same, helping all children truly enjoy reading and learning. Discover their books at childsworld.com. The Child's World, bringing the world to young readers. Hi, Jan.
Hi, Julie. We're jumping right into things today because we have a true change maker with us.
Yes, we do. Our guest is
Amanda Mellor.
Amanda is an adult librarian in the Social Science, Philosophy, and Religion Department at the Central Library of the Los Angeles Public Library.
Happy to be here.
Amanda's path is interesting. Prior to earning her MLIS, she earned a BA in Film and Media Studies, and she's been making an impact in libraries since 2012.
She was named a mover and shaker by Library Journal in 2024, and her outreach work has earned some serious national recognition.
Mm-hmm. Julie, can I just say something as a baseball fan?
I have a feeling I can't stop you, so go ahead.
Okay, so stay with me here. So 2 years in a row, World Series champs, the Dodgers, and I just had an epiphany. After hearing Amanda's story, everyone's going to realize that she's the real champion in LA.
Amanda, Jan is a diehard Braves fan.
I am.
For her to put you in the same sentence as the Dodgers is the ultimate sacrifice, and at the same time, a huge compliment.
Yes, Amanda, no pressure now on sharing your story with our listeners. We're excited you're joining us. Welcome to Library Exchange, Amanda.
Thank you so much. This is great. I'm, happy to be here.
So, Amanda, you wear two very different hats at the LA Public Library. On one hand, you're an adult librarian, and on the other, you're doing mobile outreach for people experiencing homelessness. How do you do both? How is your time divided between the two?
That's a great question. So I actually have some numbers on that. So about 60% of my time is spent as a reference librarian in the Social Science, Philosophy, and Religion Department, doing your standard librarian work, answering questions, helping people access technology and collection development. And then 40% of my time is in the preparation, execution, and wrap up post-event stats and whatnot for conducting outreach to persons experiencing homelessness here around the Central Library area. So those of you who aren't familiar with Los Angeles, the Central Library is in the Bunker Hill neighborhood in downtown Los Angeles, which is about a mile away from the Skid Row community, the largest concentration of people experiencing homelessness here in Los Angeles. So that pencils out to about once a week. I go out with colleagues to either shelters or like pop-up organizations on the street and bring free books, sign folks up for library cards, talk about the various life stabilization resources that are here at the Central Library, and try to invite people to the building because it's a cooling center when it's hot. It's a warming center when it's cold. Bathrooms, water, charge your devices. What's more is we have social workers now. We've adapted to the realities of our community, and we're a place where people can, stabilize and then thrive. So
a patron is a patron is a patron, right?
That's right.
Amanda, you kind of touched on this. I've got a compound question, okay? I'm going to break it down. So with your outreach, one, who creates the schedule, and will you describe the locations that you visit first? And then My follow-up is the services that you offer, but if it makes more sense for you to talk about the location together with the services, go for it.
All right. So I am building upon the work of predecessors, essentially. So the library has always conducted this type of outreach. However, in my role, it is formalized. And so we have our monthly resource fair called The Source. And we have providers that come to the library and offer services. For example, the Midnight Mission, the People Concerned Wellness Clinic, PATH, People Assisting the Homeless. And when I came into this role, I kind of did a reverse. I went to them and I said, "Hey, what if I did outreach at your at your location?" And that's really been quite helpful. The Midnight Mission is one of my monthly sites. So on the third Thursday, myself and Eric and Teenscape, who conduct an art program, it's chalk art, we go to their education center and bring this library program to the folks at the mission. Similarly, at the People Concerned Wellness Clinic, it's a wellness clinic. So there's a waiting room. And so, hey, what are you going to do in a waiting room? Why not read some books, learn about library resources? So that's a good chunk of where my locations come from. Also, it happens kind of serendipitously. I was at the Festival for All Skid Row Artists one year, and a provider walked up to my table and said, "Hey, this is so cool. You're here." I'm like, "Yeah. Who are you with?" And, "Oh, I'm at the Blue Hollywood Street Sanctuary. And it'd be really great if you could come visit there." And I said, "Well, sure, why not?" And so now we do. And I say we because it's myself, as well as the literature librarian, folks from our library experience office that help coordinate social services and throughout the system, partnering with adult literacy as well. We have so many resources at the library that partnering within internally and then partnering with our external organizations, it's worked out pretty well so far. So and then the follow-up was, what do we bring? What kind of resources? Well, besides what I kind of mentioned, which is like library as sanctuary, like the physical building itself, there's free printing, there's free computers, there's free Wi-Fi, scanning, you need your high school diploma. Hey, you can get that here at the library. And what's more, it's not just a high school diploma. It's called the Career Online High School. So you actually get 10 professional focuses certificate with your diploma. So reading and writing improvements, but then also like fun, creative expression type programs, like the Neighborhood Sing program with our friends in the Urban Voices Project, they've been doing the work in Skid Row for about a decade now. They come to the library, and it's music wellness, as they put it. The possibilities are endless for somebody once they visit the building, and that's what I try to convey. Like there can be some stigma, there can be some fear about leaving Skid Row, even though it's just a mile, to come up to Bunker Hill. And I say, well, hey, come say hi. I'm down in the social science department. I bring a building map, and I point to where I am. I'm like, hey, you know somebody there already. So yeah, and it's worked.
So, Amanda, for those experiencing homelessness, are they able to get a library card since they don't have a permanent address?
Yes. So in my experience, people are very honest. If they don't have an address, they'll tell me. And in which case, we have another path, which is a courtesy card. With a courtesy card, a person can check out one item at a time instead of the 30 items at a time. And they're still eligible for the 2 hours of computer internet time, databases, e-resources. I let them know, well, hey, if anything changes, visit the library and we can update the status of your card. A lot of the times when I'm out there, people put down some type of mailing address, and I go with that.
Okay.
So yeah, so that people rarely don't qualify. But even then I'm like, well, hey, here's a free book. Here's a bookmark. Just come to the building. Like, you don't need a library card to come into the building. So I try to frame it that way, especially so they don't feel ashamed or whatever. It's like, hey, no, just come hang out. It's just cool. I mean, we have guest passes, so a person can still hop on the internet for 1 hour and get their prints with a guest pass. So there's options.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Advancing Technology, Designing Spaces. Niswonger AV is your comprehensive K-12 education partner. With 50 years of expertise, they deliver innovative technology and strategic furniture solutions that transform learning environments.
Why choose Niswonger AV? It starts with cutting-edge AV technology and intelligent furniture design. Their value extends far beyond the products. They use a consultant-driven approach backed by a family-owned commitment to excellence.
advancing technology and learning spaces with old-fashioned personal service, because your library deserves more. For a free design, call Niswanger today at 770-338-0335. So, Amanda,
Yeah.
in a traditional library setting, you might have usage stats or circulation statistics or all the traditional statistics to see if you're meeting the needs of the patrons. What does a win look like for the outreach part of your job? How do you measure? Is there a way to measure the outreach position you're in?
Well, sure. I'm fortunate to have spent a year in the larger community outreach department that the library has. That is a department that serves the entire library system, which is split up into, I think, 6 regions. And so I did that for a year. I served the Hollywood and Western area. And one thing that really stood out to me from my time there is data tracking. There was a form that we filled out after every single event, just, who did we help? Demographics. How long was the event? But then, of course, the main metrics, library card signups, how many interactions, how many Spanish language or other community language interactions, how much swag or how many incentives did we distribute? So I keep all those stats for this role. But really the thing that resonates with me is when, someone comes down to the social sciences department and says, "Hi, I'm here."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "You were at the Midnight Mission." Or there was a gentleman who I met at a festival in Gladys Park. And he was, a new American learning English. And he was pointing at me and saying, "Gladys Park." And I was like, "Yeah, that's what counts the most for me." But I have both types of data, both types of things for anybody. Admin, my supervisor, but then also for myself.
Amanda, so you mentioned this a little bit in the beginning. Your programs rely on community partnerships. So can you mention a few of those partnerships and why that makes this program successful?
Yeah. So Midnight Mission, they've been huge.
Can you explain?
Yeah, so Midnight Mission is in the heart of Skid Row. In San Pedro, they've been in the community for over 100 years. They offer emergency shelter, 3 hot meals, but also recovery programs. So for men and women, and there's also longer term, like people live there too, very low income seniors. Yeah, it's just a cornerstone of the community. They have a little library there too, Peter Lab, music, jam band spot. And so that's where I go. And so yeah, that's where Eric and I conduct
Okay.
the chalk art program. Yeah, so they've been huge. But then Blue Hollywood Street Sanctuary, which is an organization by and for street homeless. It's just pop-up canopies along the sidewalk, and they have a garden. They have a little library too, a little cart that we bring books to replenish. But yeah, every Thursday they have a cuts and coffee program. Free haircuts, hot coffee, and then we pop up as our schedule allows. Whatever Thursdays we're free to offer library services there. But yeah, the Skid Row Arts Alliance, they've been great. They do the festival for all Skid Row artists. And I mentioned Urban Voices Project. They're an organization part of that alliance. We are already serving this community. To be more intentional about it can only be a good thing.
Absolutely. So, Amanda, can you describe your role in serving people in reentry, those who were formerly incarcerated, and maybe some challenges you've had faced with that?
Oh, well, sure. What I do in conjunction with adult literacy coordinators, as well as we actually have a reentry librarian now, which is very exciting.
Ah.
Myself and these folks, we visit the parole office. I go on the second Thursday of each month, but they happen throughout the county at various times. And so actually colleagues in the community outreach department, they cover the valley and the mid-city events. And it's basically welcoming people back, saying like, "Hey, welcome home. And here's your library card," So, it's a free place. They can take their families. They can get career help. Again, printing. Printing is so huge. I keep mentioning printing because it's free. But yeah,
That's great.
And we do have a dedicated website for reentry resources. And in conjunction with the librarian, who's our reentry librarian, we have special like digital literacy, computer comfort classes, but just for folks in reentry. And so again, reduces stigma. There's a shared common experience between everybody, and that's super rewarding. But I do actually have a challenging story, which has nothing to do with the parolees or the folks, but a little over a year ago when the Palisades and the Eaton fires began, there was still a parole meeting that Thursday. I had evacuated my apartment. There was a different fire. It went out quickly in the Hollywood Hills, but I didn't want to risk it. And so I had spent the night at a friend's place, and I was like, well, I got to get some work for the parole meeting. And so I took 1 hour of leave, and I was able to show up, and I didn't even have her contact info, but my adult literacy coordinator, she was same as me. She was here too. She was like, we got to do this. We got to do it. And so, we took the library van out, and we were there in the sky. Like, it was raining ash, and we're all the way down if anyone's familiar with the city of Vernon, it's south of downtown. The sky was, orange and gray, and
that's that championship thing I'm referring to.
Yes, that's dedication. Holy moly.
But because the state was still conducting this parole thing, and we served about 50 parolees.
Wow.
It went well. It was a standard meeting, but afterwards we're driving back and we're like, oh my God, we just did that. Like, what are we doing? Like, came back to Central and did the rest of our day. But it was heavy, but it was really uplifting though, being able to do the outreach, so.
But I can't imagine driving back from that. That's
just ash on the windshield. Wow. Yeah, it was gnarly.
Amanda, to your knowledge, are there other public library systems who do the same PEH outreach?
Well, I can't speak to exactly the outreach component, but I know that there are systems that are very engaged with this community. Dallas Public Library, for example, I recall reading a neat article about their podcast series, interviewing people from the community. So like I said, we all kind of are doing this work. If we put a label to it, that's, I guess up to library admin. But so Dallas springs to mind, but I would love to learn I'm sure there's more. Yeah.
Right. What advice would you give to other librarians who want to start similar outreach programs in their communities?
Yes. Well, kind of same as me. Figure out which organizations are already doing the work. Don't reinvent the wheel. Find out who has regular meal times, food giveaways. Is there a faith-based, place that offers mobile showers? Find out who's already doing the work. And just reach out. Say like, hey, and be very clear about what you can offer. See, I can do library card signups, free books. Maybe one of these locations serves families. Maybe you can provide a story time. There's certainly unhoused families, children. Figure out what you can do, what motivates you, what uplifts you. Find the orgs that are doing that. And then see if something can be, arranged. A lot of work for one person to do it. I'll just say like you're, talking for 2 hours straight and doing this and doing that. At least 2 people. Yeah, go from there.
I just wanted to circle back around. I know that earlier you had mentioned musical wellness and urban voice project.
Yes.
I think people would want to know a little bit more about those 2 things.
Yeah. So, and this is just me anecdotally, like both being a person that's joined the musical wellness class twice, and then also conducting outreach at one of their holiday events that they coordinated. So as a participant, they're trained musicians. They come in, like say, with a keyboard, a bass. They have a songbook that they've developed, and it's a way to safely kind of share your feelings, express yourself. It's very cathartic, to a point where like I got choked up because these are very like uplifting songs, and I don't want to like have to go back to the desk and haven't been like teary eyed. So I'm like, I can't go this week. But what's nice though is because we are in such a unique place, like Central Library. Look it up. It's 8 stories. Like it's a huge building serving so many people just walk through the doors. And so if you can attend a program where you're singing a song and you work in the US Bank Tower and you maybe make $150K a year and you're singing a song next to someone that woke up in a tent down on 6th and San Pedro, you are breaking down barriers, that exist. You are sharing space. And it's a really, really cool thing. Like, where else can you do this? And, that builds a form of community resilience, frankly, because you've done something special together that you probably wouldn't have been able to do in any other context.
Wow.
Very true. Amanda, if our listeners want to contact you or reach out to you, how can they?
Sure. So at the lapl.org, that's just the general library website. There's a contact form on the site. If you just kind of say, "Hey, I heard Amanda on this podcast," it'll filter through the various internet tubes and get to me. Yes.
I really appreciate you sharing all of this with us. I feel as though you are recognizing a group of people who still have interests and beyond needs. They still have interest, and you meet them. And thank you for what you're doing.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for being interested in this, aspect of librarianship.
We've exchanged ideas, and now it's time for the recap. I know, Jan, you wanted to update us on a correction.
Yes, I want to get my facts straight. In our intro, Amanda was recognized by a library journal as a mover and shaker in 2025, not 2024. That's
Oh,
it.
gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
that's something minor, but I know that's important to get the facts right since we are librarians.
We are.
So I have a couple of takeaways from the interview with Amanda. One is library services are for all people from all
Yes.
walks of life, and
Yes.
librarians everywhere find ways to meet the needs of their communities. Amanda has a unique opportunity to touch the lives of people in vulnerable places in their lives.
Yeah. So I wrote almost the same thing in my notes, Julie. The way that libraries serve the community is meeting the need, and we did talk
Mhm.
about that a little bit. A patron is a patron is a patron, whether you're a school
Yes.
librarian or a public librarian.
Yep, absolutely. I know that she describes how she shares information with the community when she's at her outreach programs about free printing and scanning and computer access and Wi Fi, and how they can also access the Career Online High School to obtain high school diplomas. One thing that I really loved hearing about was the music wellness program, where the people from all different backgrounds bond over their shared musical interests.
So, Julie, if you'll allow me, I took three of the things that you just kind of mentioned and compared it to a public librarian and a school
Mm.
librarian.
Uh-huh.
So, again, she just emphasized that our policies, our procedures, and what we do should be bridges and not barriers.
Oh, I love
So,
that.
yes, if we're in a school library, to make sure we are doing a good job of helping our students access resources and leave with a positive experience. That's
Yeah,
important.
it's so important to remove barriers when you can.
Yeah, so here's a little side by side. So the courtesy card she talked about, where people didn't have a fixed address, but they could check out an item and still have access to the computers. I thought for school librarians, think about if you're aware of students experiencing any type of instability in their home, they may be in foster care. Sometimes they're afraid to check out books.
Right.
I might lose them. I might have a fine. So go find free if you can, because Julie, we've heard other ways to replace books, especially with library fairies. I see
Yeah.
all over social media.
Yes.
You can have a fundraiser or just have a little free library so that students always have access to books.
I feel like a lot of this is just a testament to who Amanda is. She has such an approachable personality. And from our conversation, you just really, just even on our interview, you feel such a sense of safety and trust, such a reassurance probably to her patrons. Services and the interactions she describes really show how she connects to people in her community.
Yes, she also talked about her pop up outreach. And so for a school librarian, I know they take carts to the cafeteria or maybe they're open during PTA. Stepping outside of your space is important. So if your school celebrates International Night, Literacy Night, you better be at Literacy Night, STEAM Night, get involved and show off the resources that your program offers. And, some elementary schools do like pastries with parents, like
Oh, that's cute.
do breakfast with books. And maybe that will take something off your principal's plate if you said, "Hey, I'd like to lead this meeting with parents." I know a librarian in our district did a book tasting with parents with their kids, and it was a really big hit.
I love that. So, how about her story about the parole meeting during the devastating wildfires that happened? I mean, talk about a person who shows up. I'm just amazed.
We can't complain about, oh, I checked in hundreds of books today when she drove through ash.
Exactly. And so also, the goals she has for providing information about what the library has to offer is actually very similar to the goals that traditional public and school library services have. We all just want to provide services that meet the needs of the communities we serve.
I love how she reframed the library as a life stabilization center. She said it's a cooling or a warming center. There are charging stations, and there are even on-site social workers. But for school librarians, for your students, remember the library may be the only place for reliable Wi-Fi or a printer, and it may be the only place they feel comfortable reading.
Well, I just really enjoyed listening to all the unique perspectives, even though there's a lot of similarities to what we all do as school and public librarians everywhere. Amanda's just an incredible person, and I love her commitment to the profession.
She is great. Remember, you can contact Amanda through the lapl.org website. And as she reminded us, being a librarian isn't just about books. It's about meeting people exactly where they are with dignity. Join us for our next episode on February 23rd. This episode is sponsored by Gladys Autry with Mackin Educational Resources.
For over 40 years, Mackin has provided kindergarten through 12th grade libraries and classrooms with access to over 4 million titles and makerspace resources with exceptional customer service.
For more information, visit mackin.com today.
Make sure to visit our website at www.libraryexchangepodcast.com.
You'll find episode notes and links. You can even submit your questions or inspiring stories that may be featured on the podcast.
If you're looking for some swag for your library or book-loving friends, visit libraryexchange.etsy.com.
That's a lot of URLs, so I'm glad you had to say all of that, Julie.
Thanks for joining us. We can't wait to have you back for our next episode of Library Exchange.